It's fine with me. It's who I am. It's who I am.
Hi, everybody. It's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? Oh my God. Another exciting Tuesday is upon us. Tuesdays are big days. I'm telling you, I get so excited. Look who has joined us immediately. First one in, Danielle, you win. Danielle from D's Enlightened Edits. Danielle is our friend. She is a healer. She is a spiritual medium. She is a teacher. She's a coach, a spiritual coach. She does so much. I was talking to her this week. We had such a nice conversation. She's one of the smartest people you can imagine. And I had just the most amazing session with Danielle maybe about a month ago now. It was a quantum session. If you go to her website, which is DAMCL, damselsdesigns.com, she has a plethora of services. But the one I got was the quantum session. I also got it for my Ziana and my sister. And I cannot say enough about it. So go and check out Danielle's website. You will not be disappointed. Oh my God. Speaking of which, Rena Cruniali-Bergi has joined us. And she is my cousin that I was talking about, Ziana's daughter. Ziana's famous, my Aunt Anna. She's famous. She's the keeper of many, many, many things. She knows many things. And Rena is, we call her our family project manager. And she is. Rena, you've been so busy. I've been following you. My goodness, as if you couldn't get any busier. But that's kind of our family. We kind of are busy people. All right. So let me just check. I like to double check on my phone what's happening here. Okay. So we're going live from New York City. Leo Rodriguez, my sidekick and tech guru and runner of the show behind the scenes, our Wizard of Oz behind the scenes, is here, and we are so happy he's here. Leo, what's happening? What do you got to tell us?
I've been going over my armography.
Your
The
armography.
circle of life.
Because
Tomorrow I start my kindergarten and second grade gonna sing and dance class here in Ottawa, California. I'm so excited to be introducing theater or bringing theater into my community center.
And how old are those babies?
They're gonna be 5, 6, 7, and 8. 5, 6, 7, 8.
And that's amazing that you're introducing them that young. Because I mean, you get kids that young, and all of a sudden they start to you see their faces change, their little eyes light up, and then some of them are super super shy, and then they get on stage and they hear the applause. That's the moment I know as a teacher.
My favorites are the ones that know everything all the way. I know this teacher. Look at me, and I know this. And then it comes to performance time.
Oh, yeah,
and they're so cute. They're just like people.
I know. You know what? You're right. It can go either way. You're right. Sometimes
And
that
there's
happens.
always the independent one that does their own moves.
Oh,
And
yeah, they have to do their own thing.
I
Or
don't
how
know
about
anybody that could have been like that. I'm not
how about
sure.
the kid that says, no matter what you tell them, says, I know,
Oh,
I know.
mm-hmm.
How about that? Or, yeah, okay, I know. But most of the time, my favorite kid is always the funny kid. I can't help it. I don't always tell them that because sometimes they're being inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny one is usually my favorite, the goofball.
I have one. I have Finn. Finn is like that. My little Finnegan.
Yeah.
He's a little older. He's a boy, but he likes to just and I know he's trying to be funny. So like the other teachers will be helping, but from my office I'll be like, Finn.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Yep,
You
you
can
can
hear it.
hear it, but he's my Finnegan. Finn. Yeah, they're funny.
Okay, so Danielle, so those are the Italians 9 times out of 10. They know. Oh my God. That is funnier than you know, Danielle. You're absolutely right.
My favorite one of the trips, pardon me, I toured with Missoula Children's Theater.
Oh, yeah?
And we were in Arizona and we were doing their original there. And it's basically you have a week, like me and you in a truck. We have the props, we have the set, we have everything. We show up to a town and we teach these kids in 4 to 5 days a 45-minute musical.
Wow.
And then we perform with them on the last day, 2 or 3 performances, pack it all up, head to the next town. Come to Arizona, and there was this one kid, and I just, Mr. Leo, Mr. Leo, he's affecting my aura and I'm not able to work. And
What? Where was that, in Arizona?
This was in Arizona. This was like 2000,
Well,
2001.
that kid is
So,
advanced. How old
Oh
is
yeah,
that
totally.
kid?
And you have that look, the look where you want to laugh, but you want to like handle it.
Yeah,
And you're biting your tongue.
I know. Listen, I had something like that this week. We were in the studio, and these kids are older, and one of them was upset that the light was in his eyes, but because they were filming something. I said, I got a great idea. Move out of the light.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, we're not going to change the lighting. Anyway,
Some of us though, the light just tends to find us on a normal basis, and there's nothing we can do about
there
it.
you go. There you have it. All right. Who else has Jill? Let me see. So far we have Rena and Danielle. We are happy that you girls are here.
Oh, I
Let's
wanted
talk-
to say, I know that we have some friends in the green room. Now would be the time you could go share from Maria's page to all your other pages
Yes.
if you want to share the show to your friends and everything.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Mario Davila has joined us as
Hi,
well.
Mario.
We love Mario Davila. Oh, let's talk about
He's funny.
Mario was in our 2022 calendar last year. I should say our debut calendar, which is now considered a collector's item. That's all I'm
It
saying.
is.
I have 10 that I extra
I'm
ones
sorry.
that
I'm trying to look at that
There's
little mirror there.
Mario. He is famous, now. He is plastered all over the Upper East Side in bars and restaurants. Leo has the moon for
Key light.
yeah, he certainly does. But now this is our 2023 calendar. We are
and
in
it's
February.
February.
It is officially. Oh, Manny, that is X-rated. That is Manny for the Valentine's Day. I call him Manny. It's Head Manuel, and so he has joined us. One of our 3 Puerto Rican hotties in our calendar. Those
I
calendars
tell you.
are $15. If you want one, just let me know. And it usually comes to about $5 to send it out. So $20, you get a calendar you can look at every day with delight.
And one of our guests tonight came from two people that you know, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Mr. and Mrs. November in our calendar.
Mhm.
John and Lori actually introduced me to our second guest, who I am just beside myself that he was able to make it tonight. Because, both of these guys are super busy. Ryan is going to join us first, and then Mac's going to join us second. They're super busy, and their Tuesdays are usually super busy too. So we're lucky that we can get them on the show. Leo, I am going to ask one thing. I just realized that I forgot my water off camera.
Oh no!
So if you could just take the camera off of me for 2 seconds, I shall return.
Okay.
And you know what? Why don't you talk about our merchandise? I shall return.
Our merchandise. All right. Our merchandise, like the handy dandy Maria, What's the Story with Maria mug. Go ahead, keep eating on one side, and then you can have coffee with Maria on the other, or tea, or whatever you're going to have in the mornings. I always have. Now I'm having less coffee with a little bit of cinnamon in my Maria mug. Maria mug. And then, of course, there is our piece de resistance. This is the piece that makes everybody take off their clothes, apparently. It's the Go Ahead, What's the Story with Maria? Keep Eating Apron. And this was our surprise seller.
Hello.
We didn't know that it was going to be. I can hear you, Maria. You back from your
Okay, honey.
excursion?
Let me see what. So you have Chrome on?
I did the apron.
Okay, so on the cell phone, go to the.
Okay, and now we have. Oh, Maria seems to be helping one of our guests. And then we have the What's the Story with Maria tote bag. Although this is a collector's item because they no longer make this style, but it is a durable style. We're looking for replacements right now because everywhere, even in California, they charge you 10 cents a bag, and that's just too dang expensive. Okay. So that was our merchandise. But you know what? We have something even a little bit more musical for our merchandise. Let's take a look.
Swing is an attitude, you gotta change your attitude and swing. Swing is an attitude, you gotta change your attitude and swing. Swing.
If ever you want any of the items from Maria's collection, the apron or the mug or the 2023 What's the Story with Maria, nothing but the calendar, you can order at what's the story with Maria at gmail.com. And I believe that Maria has taken care of her errands and she is back.
Yes, I am back. Actually, that was Mac on the phone. He's having a little bit of a technical difficulty getting in, so I was trying to help him. If worst comes to worst, he can always call in. But I would love for you to meet him, everybody. Okay, so we have Lori Towers. Oh my God!
Hi, Lori. It's right. We just saw you and your honey. We were just talking about you.
Yes, because of our calendar, and that was the sexy Mr. and Mrs. November, because they're Scorpios. Look at them. You talk about that setup. They created an entire that piece is art directed.
It is. And if you want to hear these two wonderful people Wednesday nights on WFMU, Sheena's Jungle Room, The Underground. I am a fan. Maria, it's what I do Wednesday nights.
I know, honey. I'm working Wednesday night, but what I usually do is a day or two later, then while I'm cooking or whatever I'm doing, then I put it on. Usually when I'm cooking.
Yeah.
And that's when I enjoy it. It's amazing. I love it.
I love the collection of music that they find and put up there. And just some and the way that they combine them. I mean, from punk and rock to some we had some instrumental violinist strings playing the other day.
Yeah,
just so great.
Interesting stuff, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then when they talk and they give the history, John and Lori know.
That's what I love the best. Me too. I like it all.
Sexy voices to go along with that picture.
Yeah, but my favorite is like the education behind it. The music education behind it. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Can't say enough about John and Lori. I love them.
Thanks, Daniel.
Okay. Leo did a hell of a job. Yeah, I had to go off camera because I needed my water, but also I was getting a phone call from one of our guests. And we're going to get him on one way or the other. If we can't get him on if it's not coming through because he's coming through on his phone, then we will have him call in. But we'll figure it out. Don't you worry. Don't you worry about anything.
Okay. You know, we forgot what we could tell people that they could see us.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
And you can catch us like just right now on YouTube and all of our YouTube channels. We also have Facebook.
Oh, my God. Look at that. I love when you do that.
Isn't it? Yeah. It's like we're a picture and a picture and a picture and a picture.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're on my Facebook page, Maria Gentili. What's the Story with Maria Facebook page? We're on Leo's Facebook page. And then we also go live on YouTube. So check us out in any of those formats. Okay. Liz Goldenberg has also joined us. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz.
Liz, I used some of your spices today. Liz Goldenberg has literally brought me spices from around the world. Today, yes. I mean, every time she travels, she brings me something. She's amazing. And Liz, I used some of your Seattle that she brought me from the Seattle market today. I used them in my chicken. Okay. Let's do it. We have we have two amazing guests tonight. My first guest is, I met him through Sarah Glassman, who we all know and love. And he is not just an amazing performer. I love his voice. It's beautiful. And a sweet guy, but he also is producing a ton of stuff these days. And let's just bring him on and have him tell us a lot about what's happening. Okay, so this is High Glass Productions. He is Ryan Hires. He is the high of High Glass. Sarah Glassman is the glass part of that. And they are doing so many amazing things. Look at them, the founders of High Glass Productions. It is they have a residency right now in a theater, the Players Theater, which is 115 McDougal Street, and it's the third floor. This is the heart of the village, the heart of Bohemia. This is where the whole folk movement started in that area. Ryan Hires, thank you for taking the time to join us tonight, my love.
Of course. It's so good to be on. Thanks for having me back.
Of course, honey. Now, you guys have done, since we had you on last time, you've done you just keep going and going. You have a residency there. What does that mean to someone that is like, well, what is that, a residency? Is that a once a month? What is it?
So yeah, we started our residency about a little over a year ago at this point with the Players Theater. And at this point, we're doing a show every 2 months, basically. And we've we've done Christmas show, a Halloween show there. We're doing our upcoming show, which is February 9th, next Thursday, which is an original works show. So we have all sorts of different thematic stuff that we do, and all sorts of different versions of our performances that we do at Players Theater.
Now, you did a Christmas show recently,
We
right?
did, yes.
And that was an original production, right?
Yes. So Sarah Glassman, as you mentioned, and Joshua Bennett, somebody who's been working very closely with us recently, came up with a wonderful Christmas show. And it was all original music, all original scripts. I did a little editing for that, but they were the main writers of the show. And it was super cute and a lot of fun. And we actually did 2 shows in one night, which was kind of crazy and exhausting, but it was a very rewarding experience for us.
And I if I'm not mistaken, it sold out.
So yes, our first show sold out, and the second one was very close to it. That was our first experiment with doing kind of that 2 shows in one night format. So we were happy with that. Yeah.
And this particular show that you're doing now is called The Heart of the Matter. It's a songwriter showcase. And you have, I think, like 5. I was looking at the list. I think it's 5 different songwriters, right?
Yes. So we have 4 songwriters plus Josh and Sarah, and then we have another vocalist who's joining us to assist with vocals on a musical or selections from a musical that Sarah and myself are writing. So
amazing.
A number of different people joining us for this. It's going to be a fantastic night. Josh and Sarah are hosting, and they're both each performing some of their own works, in addition to performing on the work from Petting Zoo that Sarah and I worked on.
Wow, that's amazing. And then you have other songwriters. And can you mention some of those songwriters?
Absolutely. So we have Caitlin Eve, who's from Maryland, and she headlines Dueling Pianos at Haswell Greens on Friday and Saturday nights. And she'll be debuting some of her original songs at this show. Also, she is somebody that we should thank for being a medical professional that has, suffered through the pandemic.
Wow.
So we're very grateful for her on many levels, and one of which is joining our show. We have somebody that I met through Village Light Opera Group's production of Titanic. His name is Cody Ruger, and he'll be performing 2 songs from his album Unconfined and 1 song from an unreleased album. So it's very exciting to have those original works on our show. He's also a lawyer in New York, so a man of many talents. And
how cool is that? An
interesting fact about him, he did some voice acting way back in the day on some pretty famous cartoons, Animaniacs, Real Monsters, and Hysteria. So that's kind of cool. We also have Tara Struss, who is a seasoned New York singer-actor, and she's currently breaking into the voiceover world. And she's performed with us a couple times, so we're super excited to have her back, and she's debuting 2 new tunes for us. And then we have Taylor Patty, who is the vocalist who is going to be singing with us.
We love
for
Taylor.
Petting Zoo. Yeah, what an amazing voice, right?
Yeah, and such a sweetheart. She's a doll.
And so she was also in the all-black cast of The Hair in concert that they did at Stonewall, which I heard was really cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it myself, but we're excited to have her. And then somebody else that maybe
just a little unknown, yeah,
might be performing with us. Maria?
I'm gonna join this show. I'm so excited. I usually can't get to these things because I work almost every single day, and that particular day I do teach during the day, but because the show starts later, I can make it. So I will be on that roster. I'm going to be doing 3 of my originals. 2 Sarah's going to play for me, and then 1 I'm going to play on the guitar. So I'm excited. It's been a long time since I actually got to do some original stuff. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be just nice. It's going to be nice to just do something like that. I work in the piano bars 4 nights a week, and I love it. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. But this is really like a luxury for me. So thank you for asking me. I'm really excited.
We're so happy to finally have you a part of one of our shows. We've you know been trying to make it work for so long, and we're ecstatic
I
to
know,
get you a part of the shows.
and you're all wonderful people, and I'm looking forward to meeting the other songwriters as well. So it should be a great time. If you want to get tickets, Ryan, how do they do that?
So you can go to the Players Theater website, and they will have a link on their calendar to our show. Again, it's February 9th. That's next Thursday at 9:30 p.m. And it's through Ovation Tickets. And there is a promo code for half off of the price of the ticket,
Oh, that's cool.
which is all caps Heart 2023. So
All
please
caps.
use that. We encourage you to get half off your ticket price. And come join us for the show. It's going to be a really amazing time. Our company is trying to move towards doing more original works. Originally we conceived of the company to try to give all of the talented friends and performers that we know an opportunity to perform on stage in something kind of a casual cabaret. And so, we've done a lot of cover shows and things like that, typical cabaret, but now we're trying to transition to more original works, like our Christmas show and Petting Zoo and all of these, amazing singer-songwriters that we know and love. So
I love that. Because that also gives so many people a chance to be seen and heard. It's a wonderful thing. I always love that. One of my favorite books ever written is called Just Kids. It's by Patti Smith. And the reason that I love that book is because it's kind of like a window into that era when they were just kids. Like she said, they all moved here from different places and kind of like met and hung out. And they were really not known yet. But she ended up they all became creative contributors to society. And I just love that picture, that photograph that she took as a journalist of all these talented young people. And not that you have to be young, because God knows, some of us aren't. But I think the trick is to keep going and keep writing and keep performing and keep discovering things about yourself and your friends. And that's what the three of you, like you, Sarah, and Josh, when I see you together, and I love the way you interact and the respect you have for one another, and you're just always doing something. There's always something happening. And I love that. And I have a lot of respect for it.
Well, I feel like as a creative person who also has sort of a logically sighted mind, I need that creative outlet. And this is the creative outlet for me. You all have the amazing, wonderful luxury of working in the performance industry. And I'm so jealous of that. So I love my little piece that I get to contribute through High Glass. This is special for me. So
yeah, it's great. And you have a beautiful voice as well.
Thank you.
Love when you get up and sing. And I know you don't always, but I always love it when you do. Your voice is beautiful.
Thank you.
I hope more and more people get to see you. Okay, Willie Rosado has joined us, my buddy Willie. Hi, Willie. How you doing, honey? So I look at down here, I have one page running, and then I have another page running. And okay, so you mentioned something that you are writing with Sarah as well.
Yes. So we've been working on this musical that it feels like it's been forever since we started working on it. Petting Zoo. We actually did a concert of a selection of the songs at Rockwood Music Hall before the pandemic. So
that's such a
it's
cool
been that
place.
long. But it's the story about kind of a dystopian, not really post-apocalyptic, but kind of a progression of the kind of environment of otherizing people that we live in now, but to an extreme. And as we've progressed, we've constantly had to go back and do rewrites because everything that we conceptualize, it starts to feel more and more real, and we want it to feel unreal.
Wow,
so
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's been a process, and I think for us it's been an emotional process, and I imagine for the same kind of emotions that a lot of people
It's just
have been
crazy.
going
I
through.
know. The world is changing at such rapid speed,
Mhm.
and not always for the better. That's why I always feel like thank God for artists. Thank God for people that support us. Thank God for people that love the theater. Thank God that we can all find this one place that we gather and collaborate and exchange ideas and because of that, I think the world is a better place.
Absolutely. I mean, art is a
Yeah.
reflection of ourselves, right? And how can we learn things about ourselves if we don't get to experience art in that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I don't want to keep you too long. Leo, can you pop in for a second? But God knows we need our Leo. Although he's
Ding. Hello.
what's going on with Mac? Do we have him?
Don't see him yet.
Okay.
Well,
What I may end up doing. Go ahead, Ryan. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, I feel like with your merchandising, you missed out on some really fun wordplay opportunities.
Well,
Um,
would you mind contributing to that?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like Leo set it up with the cup. It should have been, what's the tea with Maria?
Oh.
Oh.
And then the apron should have been, what's the dish with Maria?
Oh.
And then the tote could have been, what's the bag with Maria?
Oh, I love it. Oh, I
Anyway,
love this.
anyway.
Okay, well, thank you so much. All right, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to call Mac and we can have him come through that way until because I think he's having some technical issues. And then if he ends up coming through, but Ryan, don't go too far because
I will be here.
We'll pull you back in. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Hires. Am I saying it right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Ryan Hires. He is our friend. He's an amazing producer, singer, creator, all kinds of things. And he is doing a wonderful show February 9th. It's a Thursday at 9:30 at the Players Theater, which is 114, I believe, McDougal Street, which, by the way, Ryan, I don't know if you know this, but when I first moved here, that's a very special place for me, that building. When I first moved to New York in 1990, that was my first job. I worked at the Cafe Wa, the Olive Tree, and the Comedy Cellar because it's the same owner.
Mm-hmm.
So we just rotated, and that's where I got my New York, like, oh my God, experience. So that's a very special little block for me.
The first time I met Sarah Glassman she was music directing a show at the Players Theater, and I was cast in it, Jekyll and Hyde.
How cool is that? So that's where you met.
A lot of history between all of us at that specific location.
And not just that, but that place, that whole block, I mean, that street, there's a great book. There's two great books that I love about that mention that era and that whole village scene. One is called A Freewheelin' Time, and it's by Suze Rotoli, who was the girlfriend of Bob Dylan at the time all that was happening. It's an amazing book because it's also a history lesson about what was happening, the era of Vietnam and all that. So A Freewheelin' Time, I can't say enough about that book if there's readers out there that really like cool history stuff. And then there's another book called The Mayor of McDougal Street. And that is about just the folk era and what was happening. And it's from another point of view. I can't remember. I have it up there somewhere. I can't remember the author, but it's from another person's point of view about the same era. Very, very interesting take on same bands that were happening in the village scene, but it's such a great history lesson. So that particular street is storied,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm excited about that. So okay, if you can hang out. I'm gonna call Mac and trying to get him on.
Well, you call Mac. Why don't I introduce some of his music?
Okay.
To the rest of us. He is a trumpet player, if I'm correct, a horn player, I know for sure.
Oh my God. He's one of the greatest horn players that ever has lived, if you want my opinion. And I'm not exaggerating. So let me call him and make sure I can get him here because Poor Mac. I don't want him to.
Meanwhile, for our listeners and our watchers,
Hi, Mac. I'm gonna pull you in through the phone, okay, honey? Radio interview, right? I mean, a phone interview. Yeah, oh, I love it. I've been listening to your stuff all day. I mean, for days now. Oh, I love it. It's just beautiful. I mean, you're so talented. Okay. All right. So we are, guess who I have on the phone? The one and only, extremely talented and such a gentleman. I had the pleasure of meeting him. He came into the duplex a couple nights ago. But ladies and gentlemen, he was unable to get in through StreamYard, but we have him on the phone. Mac is it Golahan? Did I say it right?
Could have said it better.
Okay, that's how I've been pronouncing it. Mac Golahan is not just a gentleman, not just an extreme talent, but constantly on the move, constantly working. Right now, he's a new album out. It's called The End is the Beginning. And I love it. And guess what I have on right now, Mac? I have your t-shirt on. I have my Mac Golahan t-shirt on because I got one. Mac,
Look at that.
yes, he actually delivered it to me. So now, I mean, I'm sure you get this all the time, but I was going over like just the battery of stuff that you've done. And okay, so let me just tell everybody who Mac is. Not only is he a gentleman, a sweetheart, an amazing musician, he has played trumpet on over 200 gold and platinum records. That includes David Bowie. He's worked with David Bowie, Duran Duran, Grace Jones, Billy Ocean, Sheena Easton, Hall & Oates, Blondie. And when you were telling me at the duplex, this blew my mind, Hector Lavoe.
Right.
Yes, Hector Lavoe. So now I said to you, because we were talking about Boston in the 80s, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Sure were.
now you must have been so young and playing with these big names.
Yeah, I was. I started school a year early, actually. I was, I think, 16 and when I went there. And I ended up, my first gigs I ended up doing, as I told you, were in the Combat Zone in Boston. And that was like the strip clubs and burlesque, the whole burlesque scene and all that. And I've told several people before, it was just, some of these bands were just absolutely amazing. I mean, every night was like playing with a Jimmy McGriff record or Jimmy Smith or, these kind of guys. Every night was like, every record they piped it out into the street with two microphones they had on stage. And it actually sounded like a Blue Note record from the mid-'60s, late 60s. Every night was like that.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite eras of music. Like just, and my dad was a huge, still is, but back then I remember him going to a lot of those clubs, coming home. I remember the matchbooks because, back then everywhere you went, you got a matchbook. Everybody smoked.
Right. There was Jerome's Naked Eye. There was the Intermission Lounge. There was the 2 o'clock Lounge.
Yep.
All of these places. And each one of them had like all day long. It'd start like at noon and they would have the bands taking shifts like 6 hours at a time, like 3 hours, each or 4 hours each, and they were long sets, so you really had to get it together fast in that situation.
So you started. I mean, what I was reading that you started off as a blues guitarist, though, right? Not a trumpet player. Is that
Right, that's true. I started on guitar, and I took a trumpet lesson with my father, and when I
was your
about
dad a
7,
trumpet player?
he was a trumpet player also. Yeah, I took
Wow.
a lesson. I took one lesson with him when I was about 8 years old or something like that, and I took the horn apart, and he said, "Okay, see if you can put it back together now." I couldn't put it back together, but I was good at taking it apart. And so I just went to the guitar, and I forgot about the trumpet for a couple more years. And after that, I tackled it again. Of course, I was playing woodwinds, I was playing clarinet, saxophone, all kinds of. I was playing everything there was really that I could get my hands on,
Right.
and that was basically it. That's how I got started, and then started playing the trumpet. But all along, I was playing guitar up until about the age of 14 or 15. And one night I was playing, and things were going really well, and I was playing at a moose lodge, somewhere in Southwest Virginia.
Yeah.
And Chet Atkins came in,
Chet Atkins.
and
Wow.
he walked in, and he got up on stage and absolutely ripped me to shreds, right?
You-
And then it was like, but he was cool, he was polite, but not overly polite. He just got at me, can I borrow your guitar? And he played. It sounded great and just amazing. And then I told my father that night, going back, I was about 13 or 14 then, I guess. And I said, you know what? I says, I'm not going to get to that level. I can't imagine that getting at the level. And I said, man, he really tore my ass up, didn't he?
Wow.
He said, yeah, but look at it this way. He thought you were important enough to get up there and do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like he was showing off. He was there to show a point.
And you were, but wait, let's go back. You said you were 13. That's how good you were at 13.
Right.
I mean, that's incredible.
I was doing pretty well with it. I mean, the way I would learn in those days, I would just listen to somebody and try to sound like them until I could do it. And I did that with Jimi Hendrix. I did that with Michael Bloomfield, Buddy Guy. I mean, anybody could get a record of, I would do that. Wes Montgomery, then it became later on, and then Joe Pass with the jazz guys. And then at around the age of 14, or maybe closing into 15, I was getting busy enough on trumpet, getting really busy on trumpet that I didn't have time to keep doing all of it. And then after a while, you lose your calluses, you lose your finger toughness. And I just eventually let it slip. But I still occasionally play guitar, maybe on a record date or something. If it's something I can handle, just one of my own things, or somebody that's a friend or something.
Now, people, don't realize that Mac, even though you don't know Mac. So you may say, "Oh, who's that?" Mac, you played on David Bowie's album. I just read it. It came up, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
That was probably his biggest record. Let's Dance.
Let's Dance, right?
Right. Yeah, that was a big record, one of his biggest sellers.
And that's horn heavy. Like, you remember that because of the horns.
Sure, yeah. I had a solo in the introduction of that thing, and then a couple of lines, made up some parts on some lines, and just threw some things together as a collaborative issue. And then I came up with one or two things here and there, and it just one of those things. It was a session. It was a good one to be on. And as he said several times, I saw him. He told me that record was the best thing and the worst thing that happened for him.
Really?
Yeah. The best, and it was such a big hit, and it was a big moneymaker for him and everything. Maybe the worst for him, he had to get something that big again, or maybe it wasn't the most creative record he ever did, of course.
But you know what? It was around that time that I saw him in an interview, and I never forgot this. As an artist, it stayed with me. He said, somebody asked him what his favorite album was, and he said, "The next one I'm working on." Always. That
there you go.
He never rested on his laurels. He always wanted to be creating the next great thing. And
Sure.
you know, because that was a great album, and the fact that he would think, I don't, but you know, you see, he didn't rest on his laurels. He kept going. So we're showing
Right.
some of your albums now. Now, I want to stop at this for a second, Leo, the Copacabana, because Mac Golahan and it says the Hispanic Mechanics.
Oh yeah. Okay. That was really recent. That was last spring.
Oh my
Mhm.
God, because I love salsa so much. And what makes
Yeah, that's
salsa for
really
me is the
funny.
horns.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I played on a lot of salsa records back in the day. One of the first bands I got with when I came to New York was I really just basically started right at the top. It was Hector Lavoe,
Yes. Oh,
and
I
it
can't
was such a
believe that's
great band.
incredible.
Sure, and it was there was a trumpet opening right away, and I had to be recording with Ray Maldonado, and he says come down to the gig that night. It was at Roseland. Roseland was packed, and that was my first gig. And
Wow.
things just clicked really good. I mean, it sounded great right away. Me and Ray played phenomenal together, and we ended up doing a lot of records with his brother, also Ricardo Ray and Bobby Cruz. Several things for Johnny Pacheco was producing. Larry Harlow, and then later that led to me going with Larry Harlow, the Latin Legends.
Wow.
A
Now,
bunch of different people.
let me stop
Yeah.
you for a second. For our listeners that are, you know, they love salsa, but they may not always know the history of it. But before there was like a lot of our younger listeners, they love Mark Anthony. But before there was Mark Anthony, there was Hector Lavoe. So Hector Lavoe really started this whole salsa movement. And you know, all these other guys that you mentioned, like that was such a movement that was happening. And around what time was that, Mac, that all this was?
That was the first gig I did was late 1979.
And how, what, you must have been a baby.
Yeah, I was very young, and
Wow.
I might have been 20, maybe 19 or 20, something like that.
I mean, most 19 or 20-year-olds aren't doing, they're not doing that, you know? And
Right. Yeah. Well, I had just come from the big band scene, which was Buddy Rich. I just come from that, and then Buddy Morrow, and then there was a very brief thing with Stan Kenton, but that didn't last long because Stan's health wasn't so good at that time.
yeah.
And I had to move on. I had to do the Roy Raiden tour real quick because that paid a lot better, and I had to jump on that. That was Joe Frazier and Barbara McNair and Frank Gorsman, the Riddler, and these people. Joe Frazier had a band called the Knockouts.
Wow.
And so we played that. It was like a vaudeville type show that was on the road. And I was bouncing back and forth. Then I came to New York, and that was the first thing I landed in was Hector Lavoe and then Ray Barretto's band, back and forth. But Hector had a whole lot more gigs than Ray did at the time. And it was like a bad boy band to be in. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, I can imagine. And there's actually a great movie called El Cantante, which is Mark Anthony actually plays Hector Lavoe,
Right.
and Jennifer Lopez plays his wife. And actually, I didn't know much about it, but that's how I discovered Hector Lavoe. Well, I discovered Hector Lavoe right before that, but that's why it sent me to the movie. But if you have time, folks, actually check out that movie, because you will see that the birth of salsa was really Hector Lavoe.
Mhm.
It's really
And
cool.
believe me, the real life story was much more intense even than that movie.
Wow, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was much more intense, much more personified.
I can imagine. Now, I also noticed that on one of the albums, I'm trying to remember which one it was, that you also did arrangements, right? You were also arranged.
Yeah, I did quite a bit. And at the same time, the salsa thing was happening too. I was also doing just as many or more, probably more, a lot more, really, of the soca scene, the calypso soca.
Oh,
reggae.
yeah.
I was doing that too as well, and that must have been during the '80s. I must have played on at least, I'd say, around 300 of those records too. During that time, it was Mighty Sparrow, it was Arrow. Remember Hot, Hot, Hot?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that, and the horns on that thing, which
Oh.
became a very very distinguishable sound, and that led the way to a lot of other records: Mighty Sparrow, Calypso Rose, Designer, Beckett, Lord Nelson, Crazy, and Crazy was Crazy.
Yeah.
And just all these different guys. Yellow Man was one guy. Then later on, it was David Brother. Later on, and these people. But all these recordings were done in Brooklyn. Charlie's Records, Charlie's Calypso City. He's had a restaurant. And he had a record label. Straker had a record label, and they were all done in Brooklyn. So it was
Wow.
an enormous amount of stuff that was going on there. But then at the same time, I was doing. I just got to New York, and I was doing a lot of recording also. And it was a friend of mine who kept trying to get me to do these disco records. Want to play on disco records, and I didn't want to do it. I just said, no, that's not what I'm here for. I came here right away. I just wanted to do mostly jazz, and I was sitting in with a few bands downtown. James Chance, playing with James Chance some, and the Contortions, and a lot of different scattered things all over. And I wanted to get with Mingus, the real Mingus.
Of course.
Thing they're doing now.
Right.
And I was thinking about maybe a Horace Silver or something like that. But one thing just kept leading to another. This guy kept calling me to do the disco recordings. And I said, no, I just want to play big band, jazz, whatever, So he tricked me one time. He said, well, you really need to be on these records because you have the right sound. It's synthesizers. It's like very electronic. And the sound you have is perfect for this. There was another guy that was doing all those records at the time. But you guys are totally different. His phrasing is different. Your phrasing is different. Your sound is way different than the other guy who was doing all those records too. So he finally convinced me to come to do one. And I did it. And then 2 or 3 days later, I went to the union to pick up my check. And I called him right back. I said, yeah, please give me some more disco records. I'll do them.
Right, because that's what was happening. I mean, you played on Billy Ocean's album, Get Out of My Car. Didn't you play on that? Right.
Yes, I did.
I mean,
funny story about that. That was a big hit. That was with
huge hit.
With Jeff Mutt Lange also produced that song, and he's like on fire. He's a great producer, and he's still on fire. He's still doing a lot of stuff. I think there's a Shania Twain or somebody he's still working with quite a bit.
Wow.
Anyway, he did a lot of records over the years, and we did that record. And it was a hit then, and then recently, about 3 years ago, it was on an Applebee's commercial.
Isn't that crazy? Now, do you get residuals on that?
Well, that's the funny thing. So I kept hearing it. I said, well, I'll get a check for that any time. And I looked it up, went to the union, checked it up.
Yeah.
Had them look into it. So Applebee's rather didn't pay for it. They just made like some sort of settlement of some sort. And then they changed the music. So they would have to pay back.
Of course. But you know what? That's great that you checked it out. Because that happens quite a bit now, like people will sample those old records again.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So you work with Sheena Easton, Hall & Oates. I couldn't believe it. Now, let's talk about your upcoming show, because the problem with this... Yeah, go ahead.
I think Hall & Oates was a really important record there, I thought, was the one we did, Hall & Oates live with the Temptations at the Apollo Theater.
Unbelievable.
And so that was really some good stuff. And
I can imagine.
Temptations, put them back out there,
Yeah, and I loved Hall & Oates. I saw them in concert back then.
Yeah.
Now you are doing, this has really caught my attention when you came to we were hanging out the other night, which it was so nice talking to you. I could have talked to you for hours, and same thing now. Unfortunately, our show is only till 10, but you are doing this really special thing next Tuesday, right? So it's the 7th, which is a week from tonight at 9 p.m. And why don't you tell everybody about that?
Right. It's a place called the Hard Swallow, and it's on First Avenue between 8th and 9th Street.
Okay.
You can't miss it. It's a small little place, but it's a lot of fun to play. And at any rate, it's going to be myself and the tap dancer Omar Edwards.
I love that.
Now, Omar's a great tap dancer, and we started doing work together around 2010. And we had we had steady gigs constantly at the Cotton Club uptown.
Incredible.
Yeah, so that went on from 2010 to maybe just about 2019, 2020, wherever everything kicked in with the COVID thing.
Yeah.
And so it went on up until just a little before that. It started slowing down a little before it. He got busy, and I got busy. We were doing other stuff. But for a solid 9 years, so we had a really good rapport together, working together.
That's incredible.
Right. So as a result, we really developed quite a bit of repertoire from that. And we did other gigs on the side other than the Cotton Club.
Wow.
So over the years, we put together a lot of different tracks and things, and it's a really very, very powerful duo, and some really interesting stuff. It's got a high intensity level to it.
Oh boy, I mean,
subtleties.
I can't tell you guys how special this show is going to be, and you should really look into it. So, so the Hard Swallow, it is on First Avenue. Let me see.
Between 8th and 9th Street.
Between 8th and 9th Street. The show starts at 9. Omar Edwards is a tap dancer. Mac Golahan is the trumpet player. And the show's coming to an end. So it's because it's a short show. But Mac, I'd love to have you back on at some point.
Absolutely.
And this time we'll work it out so you can actually zoom in. But please do yourself a favor and just follow Mac. You can either Google him or go to his Facebook page. He is always doing something amazing. He's worked on so many great things, but most importantly, Mac, I'm all about energy when I meet people. You are such a gentleman. You have you just have a beautiful, lovely energy. You're so easy to be around. And guys, do yourself a favor and go and check out Mac. It's going to blow you away. How talented, seriously. And I follow you, and I love your stuff. And your last album, the newer album, The End is the Beginning. That sounds like a scoring of a movie. It's really intense, and it evokes a lot of emotion and a lot of feelings. And then you go back and you listen to Mac. You have so many different styles, and you've contributed to like. If the listeners just look Mac up, you're going to realize that Mac has been in your life for years musically, and maybe you didn't know his name, but you knew his horn, and you're going to remember that.
It is an enormous output of work. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, over 200 records. Come on, that have Grammy nominated. Give me a break.
Right.
Nobody's doing that. Nobody does that.
A total of over 3,000 total now. 3,000 records total.
Unbelievable. All right, Mac, I can't thank you enough, and we will have you come back, and everybody go and check out Mac at the Hard Swallow on February 7th. That is a week from tonight. And Mac, next time we'll get you to zoom in, okay?
Absolutely, Maria. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
You too.
All right, good night.
Later.
Wow, I wish we could have got him on, because he's such a. I mean, although you see how much information he has.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just endless, because he has like this history. This like just on and on and on of people he's played with, but he's just like such a great guy. And I met him through Lori and John, because he was on their show. And they work with him quite a bit. And they're doing a show at Pangea. That's the 28th. We didn't get to that, but the 28th, it's also a Tuesday.
we have time before.
Yeah,
before
John.
that show,
Well,
yeah.
we'll talk about it. But John and Lori and Mac are going to be doing a show at Pangea with spoken word and all kinds of stuff. Ryan, thank you for coming back on. We have about 3 minutes left to our show.
Well, I mean, we have a couple more minutes too. Do we have a free leash? Don't we? We have a longer leash.
A little bit.
Enough to see some food.
Oh yeah, we haven't done our food yet. Oh my God. I am just like, I wish he could have zoomed in. You guys would have loved him. He's just the sweetest
He
guy.
sounded great.
He's
I
like
mean, thank you for bringing me on, because in comparison to him,
no, that's not.
why am I here?
You
Oh
are
my
here.
He
Listen.
sounds incredible.
He is incredible. He is incredible. And we're, you know what? So are you, and so am I. We all bring something to the table in this beautiful world of creative people. And we find each other and we are drawn to each other. And that is what matters. What matters is that we continue to create art. We continue to put it out there, and people continue to support us. So even if you may not be an artist, but you are watching the show, you come to our shows, thank you 1,000 trillion times for supporting the arts. That's what it's about.
I mean, we put out the music; it has to go somewhere.
It does have to go somewhere, right? But seriously, look him up because it's going to blow your mind. You're like, oh my god! Like he's been on everything that you came up with. You know, all these memories.
And I love Brad. Brass adds so much.
Oh, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. Okay, so let's do the food section of our
Look at
show.
the family manager's already on it. Look at her already.
Oh, I know. Rena is like, come on. She's right. So it's 1, 2, 3. Go ahead. Keep eating. Now do this at home with us. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go ahead. Keep eating. Okay, here's what I did tonight. You know what? I couldn't go out food shopping today because I was too busy doing other things. So I said, I did what my mother always used to do. Look in the fridge, look in the cupboard. What do I have? What am I going to make? So this is what I made with what I had. I took chicken and I marinated it with thyme, rosemary, paprika, cumin, garlic, orange juice,
Ooh,
and sour cherry spread.
really?
Yeah. And then I cooked it in a little sauteed in a little pan, and with a little bit of chicken broth, and then it's over jasmine rice, which, by the way, I think is a great drag name, jasmine rice. Today I was like, that's a really good drag name. So anyway, doesn't that look delicious? And it smells so good.
It does look delicious.
Yeah. So I made that with what I had in the house, and then for my salad, this is called this lettuce is called Spring Crunch. It's kind of like Boston lettuce, but it's got a little bite to it. So I have that with blue cheese crumble, mini cucumbers, and dried cranberries. And I'm going to put, I bought this pumpkin vinegar the other day at Trader Joe's. Pumpkin vinegar and a gremolata, Milanese gremolata, extra virgin olive oil on that. Yes, doesn't that sound delicious?
You got to put an extra virgin with the pumpkin.
Yeah, well, you have to. You have to.
Are there
And
any
then-
extra virgins in the room, though?
No, you don't have.
I'm extra. I won't go.
I
with the
don't know.
virgin.
Oh well, maybe Leo. And
Reborn.
for dessert in honor of Mac and his brilliance, this is a dessert called a horn. So it's a Dominican dessert called a horn. Leo,
I'm thinking.
Dip
You know
it.
who I'm thinking of, right?
who?
I'm thinking of your high school friend.
My Eddie,
No. Well, hi Eddie. Eddie just popped in. No.
Ed Kutu of Blade Salon in Rocky Hill, Connecticut. You mean?
Who
If you
directed
watch-
you in Greece?
Oh, Mario Cantone.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of when he was on a couple times before.
Oh my God! You know what I came across, but I'll show it on another show because we got to go. I came across mine and Mario's prom picture. Yes, and I sent it to Mario. I'm like, "Can you believe this?" And he said, "Oh, you can post it." I said, "Really?" I mean, I never did post it. I wouldn't do that. But he goes, "Oh, I don't care. I don't
He
care."
was your
honey."
prom date?
He was my prom day for my senior prom, because my junior prom I went with this other guy that ended up really liking me, and I was like, I was just like, he really liked me. And my dad had to lend him a suit. It was a big drama.
Oh my goodness.
And then my Italian father said this: "Why don't you go with Mario? He's like you." And that was my. That was
Oh, the days.
yes,
Oh, the days.
yes. That was my father's way of saying, "All right, I know everybody knows."
Kids,
you-
that was called acceptance back in the day.
Back in the day, that was basically. He's like, when you go to your senior, why don't you go with Mario? He's like you. And that was so Mario and I went and we
I
had
gotta
so
hear
much
those
fun.
stories. That's
Oh.
gotta be a whole episode.
Oh, that was
Oh my god.
But anyway, I love Mario. He's my buddy. He's been my friend since high school, and he's doing amazing things. We'll have Mario back on the show really soon. Yes, actually, Danielle said Oh, please say you were Rizzo and Grease. I was, Danielle. I was Rizzo and Grease in 2 different product companies. And I was 19 at the time and 21, I think. So, yes, I was. That's why my dog's named Rizzo. And a lot of my friends, that's another set of photographs I'll pop up sometime.
Hey, there are worse things you could do, right?
Absolutely. Ryan, I cannot thank you enough for popping on, honey, and staying the whole time. Ryan is producing a show called The Heart of the Matter Thursday, a week from this Thursday, at the Players Theater Black Box, 115 McDougal Street, which is right on the corner of Minetta Lane. It's a beautiful little block. Go up to the 3rd floor, 9:30. You get your tickets at the website, or you can scan this. But here's the great thing that Ryan told us. If you type in all caps, Heart, HEART 2023, you're going to get 50% off on your ticket. That's a tremendous discount. So please come and to the show. I'm one of the people in the show, one of the songwriters. I'm very proud of that and looking forward to hanging out with these beautiful souls. I want to thank, I hope he's listening. I want to thank Mac Golahan. Just amazing guy. I can't wait to hang out more and go and listen to him more. And please look up Mac, because you're just not going to believe. He's got so many albums, and his latest one is mind-blowing. But go back and listen to his other albums as well, because the range of what he has contributed to the music world is incredible. Ryan, thank you. Leo, where would I be without Leo Rodriguez? I shudder to think.
The man behind the curtains. There we go. All right.
Thank you so much. Everybody, Danielle, thank you for popping on. If Danielle is our friend, she's a healer, spiritual medium, a coach. She does incredible things. Please look her up. So many great people that we have every week that if I didn't see you. Oh, also Gene E. Craigie from Stoneham, town moderator. Re-elect Gene E. Craigie.
Yes, re-elect Gene E. Craigie.
Yes, Stoneham, Massachusetts. Okay, we love and appreciate. Oh, there's Ken from Ken's Perfect Jams as well.
Yes, he said he was talking about Mac and how great Mac is.
Yes, please, and how great are Ken's jams. So go to Ken's Perfect Jams. I have them every day, and we are so happy you're here. Please come back and keep supporting the arts. Keep putting good out into the world. I haven't watched the news in over a week, and I feel great. I'm done listening to that stuff. I want to listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Leo, thank you. Ryan, thank you.
Thank
Matt,
you both so much.
And we'll see you soon. We'll see you next Tuesday right here. Same bat channel. Thank you, Leo.
I'm the baddie one.